So I'll try to, well, let's start. Who knows OSGeo or is a charter member here? And how many people are new to OSGeo? Okay, so it's mostly about you. The others, good to have you, but no, joking. So this is about the Open Source Geospatial Foundation, which is the host actually of the conference. Well, there's the local OSGeo that is a real host and they're implementing, but it's on behalf of OSGeo, the Open Source Geospatial Foundation. And what is OSGeo and what are we up to? So it's a non-profit software foundation where a lot of the geospatial software are under and kind of live in a protected environment where people know if the software is good, sustained, has a proper community around it. And our mission is really to foster global adaptation of, or adoption of open technologies for geospatial. We are an inclusive and open community-driven organization, and that basically means that everybody is a volunteer. As an organization, we provide infrastructure, legal support if needed, and a little bit of money. We're an independent legal entity, currently registered in the US. I forgot to introduce myself. I'm on the board of OSGeo. I'm in Europe. But there's Michael here from US. He is our treasurer. Vicky is here. I don't think she's in the room, but she's also on the board. And Tom Kralidis is also on the board. Not here, but you may have seen him around also. So it's an independent legal entity, and you can contribute your code. You can contribute funding and other resources that you have, maybe creating documentation, creating training, and so on. Helping out on committees, marketing committee, several other committees available. One important one is the conference committee. And your contributions will be for public benefit. So this is really what we're up to. So it's volunteer driven, and we are a bureaucracy, which means that we really depend on people contributing to the projects, the committees, have the thing run, stand up for board membership, become a charter member, and become active. We're also supported by sponsors. You see a couple of them that you've also seen sponsoring the conference in Auckland, but others also sponsor other things or sponsor OSGeo directly. Our structure is we have charter members that have voting rights. Not too many voting rights, but they vote for the board and they vote for charter members. So if you propose anyone or you know anyone that's really active in geospatial open source in a project that is part of the ecosystem, you can nominate that person, and then there will be yearly elections. We just had the election, and I think we had 35 new members, charter members added to the charter member list. You're then allowed to vote, and you're actually supposed to vote for the next elections and also for the board. The board has 7 directors, including the president. We have local chapters, like an OSGeo in New Zealand, Oceania, a Dutch chapter, American chapter, many other local chapters. We have committees, as I said, so you can participate in those different committees. And we have foundation projects. And then each of those projects and committees has a project officer. So that's kind of the person the board speaks to. That sounds very formal. We're not that formal, so you can talk to anyone, but that's kind of the formal structure. So currently we have 468 charter members, We'll probably clean up members that have not been voting for multiple years in a row because we consider them inactive, and your actual only obligation is to vote once in a while, once a year or twice a year. And then we have sponsors. So how membership works, it's open, it's free. You can sign up to mailing list. We have participants for all these different things. You can take part in events, help out on the projects, send pull requests, report bugs, help to merge them. We have over 35,000 unique subscribers to mailing lists. This is old. We moved to a new system. It's probably a lot lower because of the move to this course, but still quite an active, large community there. So as I said, members, not charter members, but members, self-declared. You can sign up on the wiki, on the OSGeo page. And there's currently, I looked this morning, well over 2,000, almost 2,500 people there. And then we have charter members, as I said, elected every year. You have to be nominated at least by one other charter member. And then you get to vote on the board. And you actually are kind of part of the foundation itself. Board of directors, we have 2-year terms. So my term is ending now. New elections are starting, I think, today or tomorrow. You can sign up to be on that list of directors and see if you're voted in, if you have good ideas. 2-year terms, and we have like 5 out, 5 in, and then 4 out, 4 in every other year. So it kind of moves, and so there's always people that are on the board for longer. In Europe, we are looking into an OSGeo Europe, because we really want, and it's a bit complicated so far, but we want European countries to have more, or European organizations, I should say, to support OSGeo, and it's currently not possible because it's we are officially registered in the US. So a bit about that. So the good reasons for us to have an OSGeo Europe, which I'm working on with a couple of the people in the board and people in Europe, is to have a better understanding of the Cyber Resilience Act, support projects with the implementation of that Cyber Resilience Act, and assist with organizations for FOSS4G Europe, or with the organization, sorry. And then it can be a vehicle for European level sponsoring of OSGeo, which currently is impossible for European agencies to do. So I'll come back later on that topic. And we want to enhance collaboration within Europe. This is old, shouldn't have been here. But then on the sustainability of OSGeo, we currently have some challenges. So the committees are pretty low staffed, so we really need people to start participating more in committees, especially marketing committee and incubation committee, but also the system administration committee that deals with infrastructure. OSGeo projects use that infrastructure. They also organize code sprints, and those are needed to fix all kind of things on projects. And we normally support that financially, but we are pretty low on budget because of recent FOSS4Gs happening in remote places and bringing in low profit. But we still want FOSS4G to move around the globe. So we wanted to be here. We had it in Belém last year in South America, in Brazil. But also there was a fairly, the attendance was like 400. Similar to here, that doesn't bring in a lot of profit. We had others in Europe, in US that brought in significant profit, allowing us to actually fund all these different things. So that's a challenge because our mission is to promote it around the world and to support the projects. But then facing the financial challenges of lower income is something we're really looking into. How can we solve that? And we need sponsors for financial support, obviously. So, challenges we have in our volunteer time on committees. Jody is running mostly the incubation committee and the marketing committee, but it's really too much for one person to lead that. He should have more people assisting him. SAC, the System Administration Committee, needs more capacity of volunteers helping out with configuring servers, maintaining servers, upgrading software. And as I said, our funding is mostly depending on the FOSS4G Global Conference and sponsors. So how do we make that global FOSS and the regional FOSS conferences complementary? Because we also had FOSS4G North America, FOSS4G Asia, FOSS4G Oceania. Those actually don't bring in any funds to OSGeo unless they decide to sponsor. It's really up to them. So we want to look in how can we make those different conferences complementary and not competitive. Also, FOSS4G North America was just 2 weeks ago, and there was not really coordination in when those two, this one and the one in the US, would happen. So they literally compete, but then also compete on income for OSGeo. And that's maybe not clear, but FOSS4Gs, you are free to organize a FOSS4G conference anywhere. You don't have any obligation towards OSGeo to provide money back to the foundation, except for the global FOSS4G. So, way forward. Yeah, we would like you to participate in the AGM, the general meeting we have, annual general meeting. It will happen after the closing session. We'll report on what different projects did, what different committees did, how the foundation is doing, and how we would like to move forward. Yeah, help us organizing further FEDA sessions at conferences, set up working groups, and make plans around topics that are of interest to the foundation, and involve yourself in committees and so on. And so, besides those aspects, we are discussing, and I've written a document that we want to publish fairly soon on how can we have better sponsor plans, better distribution of conferences. So making sure those regional conferences do not compete, but can actually sustain the foundation itself. If you have any ideas yourself on how this could be improved and how you can help out, please step up and talk with us. And I'm very quick, but that's about it. Thank you. We can have a discussion. So if you have questions or want to discuss things, please do so. Any questions, observations? Yeah. Sorry?
What is the relationship with OpenStreetMap?
There's no relation actually. Yeah, OpenStreetMap is its own entity. Yeah, really dealing with data. Yeah. Yeah, kind of. So also one of those things is, should we organize FOSS4G conferences together with QGIS, with OpenStreetMap? We've done that with OpenStreetMap. We've sometimes tried to do things in parallel. But the same with QGIS. It has its separate events. Could we combine those? I think so. Do you know off the top of your head, Mike, if there's is there an MOU with, yeah.
We have worked together for, like, through the summer code, you know, OSGeo code mission. Well, we looked after OSGeo students as well. Yes.
Yeah.
What is an NYU?
MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding. It's kind of an agreement to collaborate.
How does that affect the conferences for income for OSGeo if you're doing in conjunction with the organization like Open Street Map? And you share the funds?
Yeah, those are things to discuss. And now we actually discuss those for every conference, how finances are handled. It would be the same thing if we would combine with QGIS. I've now seen the native cloud conference. I could see those also work together because they really compete in much of the same pool of people that are working on those. So yeah, it could be really nice to see if there could be a closer collaboration in bigger events. Yeah.
Some of the local chapters have a very big correlation between OSGeo and OpenStreetMap. In Germany, for example, we have conference for both.
Two different ones or one?
One conference for OpenStreetMap and OSGeo.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so it is kind of a complicated thing, and I don't know immediately how to solve it because there's also all these local and regional conferences, and all of them, you know, have their good parts and also their competing parts. So we don't want to make things overcomplicated. At the same time, we also need the income at the foundation level in order to support those local events, especially when we want to go to places like here, like like Brazil. Yeah. Anything else?
We can ask you, how does someone join OSGeo?
Yeah, so how do you join? Go to the website. I think there's a sign up form, right? And you know better than me actually, but there's a way of putting yourself on the wiki that makes you a member. You don't have to pay anything. It's one of those things that we're discussing. Should we introduce also a kind of a paid membership where there's a little bit of money coming in from individuals? But again, it's nothing that we have formally defined. It has always been a really come for free and help for free. Yeah, challenge in getting funding in. So. Yeah.
Nice.
And I mentioned Europe because one of the things that we're thinking there is to just make an OSGeo legal entity in Europe, but see if it could just be dealt with by the same board of directors and just help it for European level agencies to fund directly to that legal entity instead of to the US one. Yeah. Yeah.
How does do you feel any impact of this now with these global conflicts and all that, and people in, you know, in certain countries and political areas that are kind of, you know, where there's dispute and things like that? Is that community still functioning these days as it did before?
So in a way, I think it's functioning really well at the local level because they're quite popular and you know, a lot of small events happen and a lot of local chapters are existing. I think where we fail is the upstream of money so that we can also then distribute it again and maintain infrastructure. And that's really where we fail and we should change things to make it sustainable. Yeah. Yeah.
I wanted to yeah, thanks.
I just wanted to go a bit further into the European Union issue. Is it a political issue that it's an American organization and that's hard for European governments to pay into an American organization? Is that the problem?
Yeah. So that is a problem, and the other problem is that we could, in theory, go to a local chapter, a Dutch chapter, a French chapter, but they don't want to do that. They want to do it to something that is really for all the different local chapters in Europe. Yeah. So it has a European impact. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
Yeah, it's more a thought or maybe a discussion starter. I'm a small consultancy that relies entirely on these open source, most OSGeo projects that, and don't have much to contribute back, particularly right now, unfortunately. But the idea of being able to put an OSGeo sort of badge on the site because we're a member of it, and maybe some sort of scaling sort of thing for business, if that'd be an attractive option. It could be, I can see it from my own perspective, to be able to say, yes, I'm an OSGeo supporter, as our business is anyway, and it could be a stream of income.
So we have that.
You do?
Yeah. If you bring up the OSGeo sponsorship page, there's a sliding scale which is incredibly cheap.
Oh.
Want to make it available to, one-man consulting shops.
Yep.
So if you, this is the participation.
Yeah,
If you go to the website, it starts at $100.
Oh, okay.
There's a deduction if you're from, which economic region you are in.
Mhm.
So the sponsorship for OSGeo is extremely accessible.
Oh, thank you. I didn't know about that, because that's one of the problems.
One at the bottom is one guy. He's got just one guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other thing is if you sponsor one of these events, this actually counts towards your OSGeo sponsorship. So OSGeo totals out the cumulative sponsorship across however many events, however many projects you support. And that's in part to thank folks like Jerome who sponsor so many events on behalf of GeoCat. So it allows people to pick and choose where their sponsorship dollars go to and still be recognized.
One thing I want to say to that is we don't necessarily know what your different sponsorship contributions are. So you need to let us know. We don't track that you contributed to this conference, to this project, to this thing. So please let us know when you do that so we can reflect your current sponsorships on our website and make sure you get the sponsorship levels that you deserve.
Yeah, and that comes to the change that I'm also proposing, or at least another type of sponsorship, which would be a direct OSGeo sponsorship that has an impact on when you go to conferences. So instead of sponsoring many small events and adding those up to OSGeo, have it the other way around, pay OSGeo, and then have that trickle back to your sponsorship levels at conferences. Because that's also a complication. Now, for instance, my company is a small company, but we have to negotiate every time with every conference. What do we contribute? What do we sponsor? And we could decide to sponsor bronze, but for OSGeo, seeing the total of sponsorship we've done, we would still be diamond, and things start to be a bit painful sometimes. Yeah. So. But from a financial perspective, for OSGeo, it would be much better to have that sponsoring go directly to the foundation and then down to conferences. Yeah, time's up, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you very
Thanks
much.
for discussing.